Tell your story.
Change the conversation.
Organized by students.
TEDxYouth at SHC.
Have any of you ever played that game in elementary school where you would write your name on a piece of paper and all of your classmates would write descriptive words to describe you? I remember participating in this activity in the 4th grade and excitedly anticipating whichever compliments that I would receive. Let me tell you, there was no shortage of the word nice. Even the boy that liked me at the time wrote the word nice, although it did have a heart around it. The word seems to belong to me almost as a birthright, and I always thought there was nothing wrong with being known as extremely nice. But imagine living in a world with only nice people in it. What do you think that would be like? Would it be harmonious and peaceful without any real conflict? Do you think it's possible that many issues within such a society may go unspoken due to niceties? A few centuries ago, the word nice was often used to describe someone who was stupid or foolish. However, as a modern society, we often think of the word as meaning agreeable or friendly. Someone nice is a person you can rely on when you require assistance. For example, the girl who always pays for your food is nice. The boy who runs your errands for you is nice. And there is nothing wrong with being a nice person. After all, everyone likes nice people, don't they? As I grew older, I maintained my reputation of being the practical embodiment of the word, believing it was the most important thing to be. I thought to be a good person, I must be overly nice. So naturally, I went out of my way to do things for people who did not deserve my time, and sometimes when I witnessed injustice, I didn't take action because I was admittedly afraid of making waves. A friend walked up to me one day and said to my face, "Your acne looks so bad today." And I didn't say anything because somehow I was still concerned about her feelings. Even when it came to a boy physically violating me and making me feel as though I was somehow his personal rag doll, I still thought I needed to be nice. I said no, but I continued to be kind and forgiving towards him. And sometimes I sit here and I wonder, if I hadn't been so nice, would things have gone differently? A common misconception in our society is that to be a good person, one must be overly nice. And although somewhat controversial, I believe this assumption itself is foolish. From a very young age, we are conditioned to be nice to each other. The purpose is to foster collaboration, empathy, self-discipline, and self-control. But something happens to us as we grow older, and the problems we face become more complex and psychological. The insidious culture of niceness has allowed many people to turn away from difficult discussions, such as those regarding racism and sexism. And often, nice people will turn away from conflict, even if it means the rights of others are compromised. As I mentioned earlier, nice can often be described as meaning agreeable. If we look into the history of our world and all of the injustices that have occurred, do you think it would be possible to solve these issues while remaining agreeable? When Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a public bus to a white man, she was anything but agreeable. She went against the rules of the time and did not care about being nice to the people who scoffed in her face and screamed racist words at her. She was brave in her approach, and her passion and boldness would leave a lasting impact on the fight against racism for decades to come. A more contemporary example of someone who's spoken out extensively against injustice would be Greta Thunberg. At merely the age of 16, Thunberg spoke out thousands of miles from home at the United Nations Climate Action Summit, demanding immediate change regarding the climate crisis. Her words were assertive and unforgiving, and they sent chills down the spines of all of those who were listening. One of her most memorable statements directed towards her adult audience was the following: "You are failing us. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you." Thunberg's directness in this segment was anything but nice. And yet that is exactly what made her message so powerful. How would we ever solve the issues of the world if we all prioritize being so nice? Taking that leap of faith is what is sometimes necessary to fit the definition of being a good person, because it means you are not afraid of making a scene in order to achieve justice. Someone who is simply nice may not be as quick to take that action. And this is because an overly nice person is less likely to cause any conflict. They often take the easy way out. And this doesn't mean they're a bad person. It just means that there is a lot that they can improve upon. Women especially face an issue when it comes to the culture of being taught to be so nice. We are conditioned to be agreeable and gentle, following an old archetype of acting ladylike. An interesting observation someone pointed out to me once is how women are always so quick to apologize whenever there is conflict, and how they are often the ones who say, "I could be wrong, but," before presenting whichever ideas they may have, almost as if they are anticipating criticism and feel the need to be nice to whoever is about to give it to them. Sometimes it is even dangerous for women to be so nice. A survey from a nonprofit called Stop Street Harassment observed that 77% of women had experienced verbal sexual harassment, and 51% had been sexually touched without their permission. Additionally, the statistics reveal that about 41% said they had been sexually harassed online. Being too nice in scenarios with potential predators can harm women, and the same principle is applicable to men who've endured abuse of any sort. Having a lack of niceness in these situations does not equate to one being any less good. There are several different ways of defining what exactly a good person is. I think an important value to acknowledge is the theme of authenticity that stems from it. When thinking of a good person, I'm sure many people visualize someone who is honest and doesn't lie to those around them. Honesty is a well-respected trait, and this is generally a universal ideology. But what many people fail to realize is to be honest, one cannot always be entirely nice. Greta Thunberg was honest rather than nice, while explaining her analysis of the climate crisis as a young adolescent. Rosa Parks was honest rather than nice when she demonstrated that she believed she was entitled to sitting in that seat regardless of her color. Brave women and men who stand up to their abusers every day to tell their stories to the world are required to be honest about their experiences. And they refuse to sit in agreeable silence. The lack of niceness present in these situations does not make these people any less good. If anything, it may make them even more good, especially since they are working to create change that will advance our communities towards a better future. Being kind in the right setting is always a respectable trait. But when someone is simply nice in a situation where change is necessary, that agreeableness and friendliness becomes a severe impediment. Being nice is not a bad thing. However, nice and good are two very different concepts, and it is important to recognize how being a good person differentiates from being an overly nice person. Sometimes nice isn't good, and we as a society must begin to acknowledge this. Earlier, I had asked you to imagine a world with only nice people in it. But now, imagine one with good people instead. That is the kind of world I am sure we would all like to live in. Thank you.